Hi, my name is Caitlin Arrowwood, and in this video, I'll be demonstrating how to use the online application Kahoot, which is a game-based learning platform designed to engage students through interactive quizzes and assessments. To get started, the web address for Kahoot is just www.kahoot.com. And when you click enter, it's going to bring you to their homepage where you immediately see multiple options for upgraded accounts, but don't let this fool you. One of my favorite things about Kahoot is that it offers a free version for teachers that already includes pre-made quizzes, live games, but it also gives you the same features to create your own Kahoots. So if you go to Start for Free, you're going to choose which one of these is most relevant for you. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to choose teacher and then school. So once you get here, you're just going to enter that email. It's going to walk you through setting up your profile and your password, and you'll be ready to go. The great thing about Kahoot is as soon as you set up your account, you can immediately start creating your own tools and using them within your classroom. I already have an account, as I mentioned, so I'm going to move over to this tab. When you get logged into your account, it's going to bring you to a page that looks like this. It's got your different categories within the website that you can go to. I'm going to briefly walk you through some of those before we get started on making our own Kahoot. So if you go to Discover, this is where you're going to find those pre-made resources that you can use in your classroom. The great thing about Kahoot is there are so many different categories to choose from, whether you want a fun little leisure activity for your students, such as Disney trivia, or there are also tools that are within specific categories, such as math, science, language arts, where you can go through and find those content-specific Kahoots that you need to assess your students. The great thing about Kahoot is that there are a ton of free resources on here. So if you look up here at the top, it's constantly trying to get you to upgrade that account, but it's just not necessary. You'll see certain resources like this that require that access pass, which is the upgraded account. However, like I said, it's not necessary. You can find similar or even better resources that are free, or there is also the option to purchase specific resources when applicable. There are a lot of teachers who will go through and create entire unit-based Kahoots like these. You see it says course, and that'll be several Kahoots, so you pay for those individually. Now we are going to get into creating your own Kahoot. So when you are ready to create your own, you're going to go over here to the right and click create. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to be walking you through how to create a Kahoot. However, you can build stories as well. So as you see here, with those upgraded accounts, you do have the option for PDF to Kahoot, which allows you to just upload your PDF, use an AI assistant, and create those Kahoots rather than having to go through and type out each individual slide. But the purpose of this video is to show you that you don't need that upgraded account to use this within your classroom. So we're going to go to blank canvas. So when that first starts, you're going to see up here to the left, you can create a title for your Kahoot. We're going to be making a math-based Kahoot, so we're going to title it Addition and Subtraction. You can create a short description of what it's going to be about, control who can access it, where to save it, the language you want it in, and the cover image used for it. So then we're going to click Done. And now I'm going to walk you through creating a slide. So the first thing you want to do is determine what question you want to ask. So if you're doing addition and subtraction, that could look like 12 plus 8. 12 plus 8 equals, and that's your question. So then you're going to go through and you're going to add in those answers. It's completely up to you whether you want to make them super obvious or you really want to challenge your students to focus and pay attention. So you could do like 22, 24, and let's say 39. So then you're going to want to make sure that you go through and you click the correct answer. That way, as soon as the students have their answers in, the system knows what to mark as correct. Another great feature of Kahoot is that you can add media files to your slides. Unfortunately, to use their already uploaded photos, you do have to have that upgraded account. But the great thing is if you look down here, you can upload your own media. So that's any Google image, any video you've saved, whatever it may be, you can upload it super easily for free. One of the features of the media tab that I love is the use of GIFs. I think assessments are a super stressful time for students, and this is just a fun way to give them a laugh while they're taking their assessment. But for the purpose of this video, since we're doing math, I'm going to show you how to go through and find those GIFs that are appropriate for your assessment. So if you type in math, it automatically pulls up a ton of great GIFs, but you can go through with subcategories. So say you wanted to use the one of Fred Flintstone counting on his hands. You just click it, and it automatically adds it in. So it's super easy to use, super quick. Some of the other things that you can do to your individual slides is controlling the question type. So if I wanted to change this to a true or false, I'm going to click true or false. I'm going to change this to say like 26. Obviously that's false. I'm going to mark false as the correct answer. There are several other different kinds of questions you can use, such as the students typing in their answer, sliding to choose like correct numbers. So if it was like, if you're asking how many U.S. representatives there are in the Senate, they can slide to choose the correct number. Pin answer is if they need to pinpoint an exact location, such as like on a map. And then puzzle is really great if they're ordering things least to most. You can also run polls. For the purpose of this video, we're not going to get into that, but it is a great tool if you want to figure out your students' opinions in the classroom. You can control the time limit. So if it's a easier question, you can give a shorter amount of time. If it's a more difficult question, you can give that longer amount of time. And you can also control the points that the students receive for the individual question. So once again, if it's just an easy question or a standard question, you can give those standard amount of points. But if it's a harder question, so for this Kahoot, if instead of 12 plus 8, which is easier, if you did something like 42 plus 39, which is going to take that extra bit of time for them to really focus and identify the correct response, you can give double points, which really encourages those students to pay attention. So that's how you begin creating a Kahoot, and adding slides is super simple. You just pick which kind of question you want to ask, click it, and it adds it. For the purpose of this video, I went ahead and finished a very similar Kahoot. So we're going to go back to the main web page. I'm going to go to my library. Well, it already had me in my library. But if you go to your library, you can see those Kahoots that you have already created. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one. And show you just a few of the fun things that I've done. So as I mentioned, I really love using GIFs in my Kahoot. It just motivates the kids a little more, makes it fun for them. Sometimes I just do little fun ones like this. But another really great thing that I often get a laugh out of is encouraging them to keep going towards the end. So, like here, you got the penguin cheering, "You got this." The next one says, "Oh, you're so close." And then the final slide says, "It's my last one, I promise." Just a great way to give the kids a break and laugh in the middle of an assessment. The other thing I wanted to show you is like here talking about those points. So this one is what is 48 minus 15. That's way more difficult than 10 minus 4. So I chose to give extra time and doubled the points on it. Now I want to go through and show you what occurs when you click save. It's going to give you several options here. So one thing I strongly recommend is to always go through and launch that demo and run it through and make sure everything's running smoothly before you host it in your classroom. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to quickly go through it just so you can see what the teacher sees and what the students are going to see when you're hosting this in your class. So one great thing about Kahoot is that all your students need to participate is a device with an internet connection. They don't need an account. It's completely free to them. They just need this game pen right here. So as soon as you get this pulled up on your screen, you can have them go to the URL here. If they have the app, they can use that, or they can scan the QR code. But on their device, they're going to want to enter that PIN. Click enter, and then it's going to give them the option to input their name. It is completely up to you if you want them to use nicknames or if you want them to use their actual name. I highly recommend using their actual name because it's a lot easier to keep track of who's who and who needs more practice versus who's completely mastered whatever lesson you're working on. So then you click OK, go. You're going to click start. And when it gets started, it's going to give them that countdown to get ready. And then you're going to see the first question come up. So here they have their 4 choices. They want to match it to the answer they believe is correct. They're going to click it. It's done. So if you noticed in that on that left side, it had the timer telling them how much time they had to respond. Another thing I really want to point out more for the teacher side of things is if you have a student who came into class late or whatever, you can have them enter the Kahoot game at any point in time, unless you lock it. If you lock it, no one can enter once you start the game. To go over a couple of other things here, a great feature of Kahoot is that those students are getting immediate feedback. You can see here how many students answered correctly. You can see each tab that is incorrect and how many chose that one. And then on the student's device, they are immediately seeing if they were correct or incorrect, how many points they got for it, their answer streak, and if they're on the podium based on the amount of points they got. Points are awarded for accuracy and speed. So it creates a really fun environment for students to compete to win. I personally like to give other reinforcers for the top 3 positions on the podium, as it kind of motivates students to focus more and pay attention to what they're doing. If you click next, it's going to bring you to the scoreboard. The scoreboard typically shows the top 5 students in the class, and later on it'll show, like, it'll feature students that had the highest streak or answered the fastest and so on and so forth, which kind of motivates students to get those achievements as well. I am not going to go through this entire Kahoot just because it's not necessary. However, I will be back to show you what happens at the end. Welcome back. We are towards the end of our Kahoot, so I wanted to go ahead and get the video going again so you can see what occurs at the end. Here's what I was talking about earlier, if it gives those motivators throughout the game as well. And this is our final question. And on this last one, it's gonna give the students a nice little ceremony congratulating the top three in the classroom. This is always a super fun time. The students are always curious to see who won because a lot of times the last few questions really challenge the students, and that first place person may be knocked out of their spot at the last moment. A couple things to touch on here is that the students can also click on other features as well to go through, and I will show you those momentarily, things they can do on their own. For the teacher, though, you can play it again, or you can look at a session summary. Teachers are able to view a full report as well. I am going to head back over here and show you how you can look at your individual class report as well. So we discussed the Discover feature in the library. If you go to Reports, you can click on the individual session that you hosted the Kahoot. You can go over to Participants and you can see how each student ranked, how many answers they got correct, how many were unanswered, and their final score within the classroom. So that's a really great tool to assess where your students are and who may need more practice. Groups is a really great tool as well if you are in a school system that multiple teachers work together to create lesson plans. This is a great tool to share your resources so that other teachers don't have to recreate them. And then these others are some upgraded features that we're not really going to discuss today. However, if you have questions on them, feel free to ask. I do want to show this. So students are able, let me backtrack a little. So if you go to your library and you click Assign, you can assign that individual Kahoot to your students so that they have access to everything I'm about to show you. And then they can just click Play Solo. When they click Play Solo, it's going to bring you here. And they have the option to review flashcards, learn the material, or they can play games similar to the classroom setup to really practice and understand those questions so they're fully prepared for the assessment. I really love this feature because, like I said, this is completely free to students and it's a really great study tool for them to be fully ready when the time comes for them to take that test. The last thing I want to show you is Super Kahootopia. As you can see, once again, you can upgrade. However, we're not doing that. So Kahootopia is a little island here where you get to create how your students' podium is displayed using fun stickers that they get, and you can create new ones for every single class. The thing I love is that you complete achievements that unlock these stickers and features for your island. So here you get this one for the characters wearing a hat, or this one you get where all characters are snowmen, or this one that we actually have is you played a Kahoot in game mode other than classic quiz. So it's just a fun way to motivate your students even more to earn those tokens, but it's not a necessary feature. Overall, I believe Kahoot is a highly useful classroom application. It supports formative assessment, increases student engagement, and provides immediate feedback to the instruction that they have been working on. It is especially effective for review lessons, quick checks for understanding, and student motivation. It works great for multiple grade levels, supports the whole class, and encourages their engagement, and is easy to integrate into already existing lessons. As I mentioned, there are a ton of great affordances to using Kahoot, but just to summarize them, it's a great tool for classroom management and motivation. It gives that immediate feedback and collects data that you can use to assess where your students are. It's super accessible to students and teachers and easy to use. It encourages that engagement. You can integrate multimedia into the Kahoots themselves, such as videos or images. And it's a super, super easy and great way to create assessments, which is difficult to find sometimes, as most websites require a subscription or individual payment for using their tools. And Kahoot offers upgrades if you want to make things a little easier, but it's not required. In conclusion, Kahoot is a flexible and engaging tool that supports interactive learning and assessments. This video demonstrates its key affordances for classroom use, and I hope you find a way to implement it within your classroom. Let me know if you have any more questions, and I hope you have a great day.